Thank you guys for coming tonight. I want to thank Jack, Jeffrey of Oosh Co-working Space for letting me host this event. My name is Hoyen. I'm the founder of Riotly Social. And tonight, I really want to share with you some of the experiences I've had helping a lot of brands try to not only gain more reach and more exposure on Instagram, but ultimately what a lot of brands struggle is how do they actually try to monetize and really drive revenue from their Instagram into whatever businesses that they have. So I'm just going to kick off, and then afterwards we'll have like a Q&A session, so if you guys have questions, you can ask me. So first, I really want to talk about Instagram as really a social network that has really been able to become a much more formidable force, especially really in the past year, but really in the past few months and in 2017. It's actually the fastest growing social network. It has basically over 500 million users. 500 million users. It has way more engagement than Facebook. And 66% of millennials use Instagram. So if you're trying to go for a younger demographic, Instagram is definitely a platform to do that. Snapchat as well, it's good as well. But from Instagram's perspective, it's also a very, very good way to reach a younger audience. And something that what I've noticed, and it's also, so in my company, what we primarily focus on is companies that are related to female-centric businesses. So mostly fashion, makeup, hairstyles, stuff like that, jewelry. But what I've noticed is that even though that's kind of like what my focus is on, I've noticed that majority of those female-centric businesses and industries use Instagram. Not that if you're not in a female-centric industry, you cannot use Instagram. Of course you can, but it's just an overwhelming majority of those that are in female-centric industries do use it. So I want to first kind of lay out some of the common reasons that I've seen why a lot of brands struggle to really monetize and really make that connection between what their brand is on Instagram and how to drive that brand and the traffic into their website. The first thing that I really commonly notice is that a lot of accounts and a lot of businesses create content that doesn't necessarily resonate correctly with their target audience. So there's really two things. One is your content, and two is your audience. It could be that your content is right, but you're not targeting the right audience, or maybe your target audience is right, but you don't know what the right content is, so you're not really connecting it together very well. A lot of this takes a lot of trial and error. Typically, people post things, and then they see what creates like the best type of engagement, creates the best comments, stuff like that. That is one good marker. But ultimately, what Instagram is that it's not a place where you put just product photos, like a photo of jeans and just a picture. You have to. It's a place where people try to inspire to be something. If most brands that are most successful on Instagram give off what their brand stands for, what they want their users or their customers to inspire to be. If you're a lifestyle brand or even a health brand, health brands typically try to make people, well, why do you want people to feel healthy? They want to feel healthy because they want to look good, they want to feel confident, and maybe they want to impress their girlfriend or whatever. There's a reason why people strive to certain brands. And if the content doesn't match what their aspirations are, then it doesn't necessarily connect very well. The second reason that I've seen a lot is that the customer funnel is not very well optimized. So the optimization can occur, there's a few sections. One is the Instagram account itself, and the second is the actual website itself. So the first common error that I've seen is that the website, for example, is not mobile friendly. A lot of people forget that when people look at Instagram, they're on their phone. And so when they click on anything, they go from Instagram to your page, if it's not properly optimized, you get a lot of user loss. You get a lot of conversion loss. So that's one initial common problem. The other problem is that a lot of people don't make their Instagram account more focused on driving conversions and making people know that, oh, hey, you can actually buy something at that website. It's like you walking to a store and there's no sign that says this is the cashier. So you're walking around with clothes that you don't know anywhere, you don't know where to go to actually buy your clothes. The third common thing that I see is that people don't do enough effort to differentiate their product against their competitors. The great thing about Instagram is that everybody can get on it. The bad thing about Instagram is that everybody can get on it. The barrier to entry to make a really good Instagram account is now very low. Anybody can grab a camera. Anybody can make a really great lifestyle brand. I see, I don't know if you guys have heard of Grana, which is like a locally based Hong Kong e-commerce brand. They've got beautiful pictures, great content. But the fact of the matter is that I've seen great lifestyle brands like Grana. I probably see like 2 or 3 a day. They have great pictures, amazing, beautiful models. The challenge is that how do you further differentiate yourself? There's a few ways. One is Grana, which does a really good job, is they create a really good story for their brand. That's one way to do it, and they express that through their Instagram. Other ways is that through the Instagram pictures, they really try to focus more on the lifestyle and the aspirations of the user and matches that up very well. So they use these kind of ways to really further differentiate yourself, and I think that's very, very important. So what are some practical tips that a lot of brands and also a lot of things that I've seen work relatively well? So the first thing that is absolutely critical is when you make your website, whether it's on Shopify, on Squarespace, or you build something from scratch on WordPress, you need to think about whether the site looks good on mobile. And if the whole landing page all the way up to checkout isn't really simple, there's like a lot of steps. Like if you have to, register your user and you have to like put in your shipping address, then you have to, there's all these steps. Each step is a loss in conversion. So a lot of people think, oh, well, I have a desktop version, that's fine. But when people are on mobile, they're moving around. When people are on mobile, they're in a public space, which means that they're less likely to do a lot more, finger crunching to kind of make sure that they can buy something. That's why it's very, very important to choose something like a Shopify to make sure that the whole checkout, at least the checkout process, is very, very smooth. So everybody has heard of Apple Pay. I'm sure you guys have probably seen some of the ads. So Apple Pay has really started to go not only paying for stuff in apps like in your phone, like digital goods like coins and Clash of Clans in a game or whatever, but they've really started to go offline. You can now use Apple Pay like a web gateway, like a payment gateway, similar to like PayPal. So in other words, you can use Apple Pay to pay for something if you went onto a website. This changes a lot about what mobile commerce means. It means that I can go to a website and there might be an Apple Pay logo, I click on it, and then this will pop up. And then I can put my thumb on it, and then it will pay. Which means that the shipping address, the card, contact, everything is pretty much all connected. But now this can be applied to an e-commerce website. So Stripe actually offers Apple Pay and Android Pay integration that you need to do. My biggest recommendation, I think, is make sure you have Apple Pay and Android Pay on your e-commerce website. Okay, a lot of people, when they make lifestyle accounts or Instagram accounts that are very lifestyle, a lot of people will say, oh, I don't like to push for sales too hard, I don't want to hard sell too much. I kind of think a little bit of the opposite, because if your Instagram account is trying to drive revenue, you need to have the right markers to point them towards it. And one of the most obvious ones is you need obvious call to actions. If you have a link in your bio, you got to tell people that there's a link in the bio. If you want to tell people that they should buy it, you have to say it in the caption of the photo. Do you have to say it all the time? No, of course not. But you do need to mention it so that it is clear to the user. Another way to create call to action is through the bio here. And this is very clear. Like, here's like 3 hand emojis. It's telling people that you need to go and get this. Here is the link. The link is easy to read and easy to understand. You don't need to, it's not a bit.ly link, which is very difficult to kind of comprehend. It has your branding here. Make it as simple as possible. I really discourage using bit.ly links, actually. A lot of people like to use that, but I discourage using that, which is a link shortener. So you guys all might be familiar with using geolocation tags. If you're at like a local store or a cafe, of course, you need to use a geolocation tag because you want to attract the people that are around your area. But let's say you're an e-commerce store or you don't have a specific geographic location per se. Lily Pulitzer, what she cleverly does, which I think is clever, is she puts a clear call to action in the geolocation. You can actually write pretty much anything you want there. And it's a gentle reminder that you can, you got to go click on the link on the profile to shop all colors. Now, some of you guys may have heard this, and this is a really interesting tool. It's called Like to Buy. And what Like to Buy does, it's a third-party tool. It's not part of Instagram. And what it does is that it puts a link that you put in on your bio. And what happens is that it tracks who likes your photos. It's able to track that. So let's say I'm shopping and I like her photo. And then what it does is that if I click on this link, I then go into the Like to Buy website. And that picture will have tags of each item. And it knows that I liked this photo. So once I go onto here, I check this picture, then I click on the specific item that I want to buy, and it directly goes to the product page. Now, there are some, it's a bit, the sales funnel does have one extra step. The one extra step is this Like to Buy step. But this is the best thing that we currently have today. There's only one link available in Instagram, as may a lot of you guys have know, that allows you to go from Instagram and to the outside of the internet. There's only one link. There's no other link that you can put in the caption. There's no other link you can put in the comments or even direct messaging. Nothing. It's only this one link. So Like to Buy has developed this system where you can use this one link to help your users shop. So the other thing that I've noticed that some customers that I've seen, they like to post like the same thing over and over again. It's really critical that you have to change it up a lot and alternate it. You don't actually have to post every single day. A lot of brands actually post maybe 2-3 times a week, even less. You don't have to post a lot. But what I do think is you do have to alternate it around. You have to post normal product photos, an action shot that shows what you're selling in context, a cool photo or some meme to make it more interesting. This makes it more genuine and not such a hard sell trying to push it forward as much. So the next 2 slides are somewhat related, but I think it's really important. You need to showcase your customers that wear your stuff. A lot of customers actually kind of do it, but they don't do it consistently. What I've seen is that the customers that do it consistently get a lot of return buys, get a lot of buys. And the reason is because this is like a social proof thing. If you post a lot of pictures that a lot of other people are wearing it, and they go check this person out, it really just credentializes your account. So if you're a business, I highly encourage you to encourage your customers to post it and then you repost it. It just makes your business not seem like it's just one single, like you're just one store. It makes it seem like there's a lot of people participating. Now, number 9 is very similar, except that you create a specific hashtag just for your specific to your Instagram brand. So what this one's called, it's called Frank Bod, which is actually a coffee scrub. It's used coffee beans and they ground it up, and you can basically scrub yourself. It has some special skin properties or whatever. And he uses that tag and encourages people to tag it. Now this is basically the same thing. But the good thing about this is that you're basically putting all the content generation onto your users. I really highly encourage this because it helps with your social proof and it shows that you're engaging with them. Now, running contests and exclusive coupons, it sounds pretty obvious. Like it sounds like something that everybody does or should do, but I actually don't see people do it that much. And when I talk to the people who do it, they really commit to it. Like they really put some effort into making it look good. They put effort into 2 days only, making a really short time frame to give it a sense of urgency. They really make it a point versus just kind of putting like a simple quote and just saying, hey, 10% off or whatever. Exclusive coupons and giveaway contests do work. You just need to spend more time to promote it and put it in the bio, put it in the caption in several photos. Really commit to it. Weekend sales, I like that because it really time boxes the entire thing instead of, or if you say 2 days, but it's like Wednesday, Thursday, it's kind of in the middle of the week. Maybe people are not shopping as much. Weekend makes it like, okay, you've got Saturday and Sunday to really go for it. So this one is what I like to say is when people walk into a store, like an empty store. If you walked into an empty Apple store, for example, let's say there was no Apple Store employee. Most people, when they walk in, if there's nobody there to kind of help them, you'd probably walk back out of the store. Or maybe you might look around and then, okay, well, nobody's taking care of me, I'm just going to walk out. Instagram basically is kind of like that. I've got a lot of photos. Hey, check out all these photos. Check out all my products, blah, blah, blah. But then I'm not really interacting with you. That makes it makes it very passive. It makes your business relatively passive. What I suggest is when you get a new follower, you can send them a direct message. Some people, like this company, sends them a discount code. It works for some niches, doesn't work for others. It depends, you have to test. But some people just actually ask like an open question. It's like, hi, how's it going? Christmas is around the corner. Are you looking for a jacket for your family or whatever? You make conversation like what normal people do and engage them. And you can ask them questions. Like you can ask them like, oh, are you looking for anything special? Have you bought any jackets lately? Who are you buying it for? You can develop the business and actually try to close them on direct message. It's something where I've seen the real good Instagram businesses that really succeed, they do this, and they do this religiously. And I've talked to owners that like do this themselves. And they hustle. They really hustle. Okay, so for me, there is a really big trend that's actually upcoming in 2017. And I really want to share it with you guys because I think it's very, very relevant, especially here on Instagram. And this trend really relates to mobile commerce. I've actually highlighted some of it in my talk earlier, but I'm going to put them kind of more together to make it more clear. So I want to talk about the two problems which I've actually mentioned. The first problem, as I said before, is that on Instagram today, there's only one link that a person can click to go outside of Instagram. Only one link. And what that means is that it's very difficult to get users from Instagram into the right pages in your website. And that is a huge wall to prevent conversions, to prevent other things. It makes it very difficult. The second thing is that currently mobile checkout is really, really difficult. And I mentioned this earlier. You got to register, fill in all this information, and you have to pull out your credit card. A show of hands, who has purchased using their mobile phone and entering their credit card details like this in like the past 2 weeks? Who's done that? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 people out of, let's say, 20. So the problem with this is it's not mobile friendly. This whole process is not mobile friendly. It's high friction. Most people, it's very difficult for them to pull out their credit card in public, in the subway or whatever, and actually, put that in. relatively difficult. Who here has heard about Instagram shoppable tags? Has anybody heard about this? No? Jeffrey has. So this is a brand new feature that Instagram right now is beta testing. It's beta testing in the US for only 20 brands. And by the way, those 20 brands are like the top brands. They're like Hollister, Kate Spade, Warby Parker, like basically the top brands you can think of. It's being beta tested right now, but you can actually try this in the States. And what this does is it basically does what Like to Buy does, but Instagram does it themselves. So I'm going to, let's see if I can show this. Does it go over? Yes. So basically what this does is you click on this and you get the tags. And if you want to click on that, it shows basically a product profile kind of page, I guess. And then you can swipe left and right to go to different products. And then this Shop Now button, once you click it, it goes into a website to the actual product page itself. Now this is the last link to connect to your website. It is direct, it is immediate, and it connects discovery to actual conversion. So this is Jack Threads, similar thing. Again, you can, Hollister actually, I was looking at Hollister, and Hollister has like 3 or 4 products on there. You can put like the price, everything in here. It literally makes it a lot easier for people to purchase. Okay, now, so the next thing is what I mentioned earlier about Apple Pay. Now, if you integrate this, plus when you get this and you get Apple Pay on your checkout page. In fact, there's a website called Casetify. I don't know if you guys have heard. And they sell cases. In fact, the product page itself has the Apple Pay icon on it already. So this jumps to this. So it's 1 motion, 2 motions, 3 motions, buy. It's frighteningly easy to buy. Frighteningly easy. All you do is push your thumb and that's it. All your credit card information is done. It's all set. It literally makes the whole process frictionless. And to me, with Instagram rolling this out and Apple Pay becoming more and more pervasive in e-commerce, mobile commerce, I believe, is going to be a really big trend in 2017. It's going to be something where not only Instagram will do it, a lot of other channels and stuff can do it. But why Instagram is special is because Instagram has the discovery element in it. And it has 500 million users, and it's visual. And it allows the visual discovery to make that connection. And right now, aside from Pinterest, which doesn't have as many users as Instagram, and it's still having some trouble monetizing, Instagram is actually the sure bet in terms of as an actual legit e-commerce channel for 2017. So this is something that I foresee as a really big upcoming trend. So that's all for in terms of like some of the tips. I'm just going to talk a little briefly about Riotly. Riotly Social Media, we've been around for about a year and a half. We have over 400 customers globally, worldwide. We've worked with the likes of Grana, Dmop, Mabel, Fujifilm, 1010 Telecom, some local companies that we work with. And what we do is marketing automation. There's a lot of things that you do manually on Instagram. And what we do is we try to take all that stuff that you potentially do manually, and then we automate that for you. We want you to spend less time on your phone and more time on your core business and actually focus on stuff that matters. So what is the key problem that we solve? The key problem that we solve basically is Instagram looks like this. Can you find your brand in this Instagram is very noisy, and it's very difficult to differentiate and be different. And what we do is we help you discover your target market. You tell us who your target market is, and then we try to find them. After we find them, we then interact with them by, on your behalf, follow them, like them, comment on them, using more of what really is an outreach way to reach out to them and say, hi, how's it going? I think you might be interested. And they will check out your Instagram page, and they will see that, oh, wow, this is a page that's very interested. And if the targeting is correct, most likely they will follow back and they will engage. And so what we most importantly feel is that these are followers that are targeted and have the high chance of engaging your brand. So basically what this says is basically what I just said, but in a more graphical way. You're the business. We do follow, like, and comment into your target, and what you end up seeing is a follow back rate of 20 to 40%. So if you follow 100 people, around 20 to 40 people will follow you back. And they will see that they followed you, or they'll see that your brand is following them, and this allows them to kind of check out your brand and check out your Instagram account. So we've helped a lot of accounts basically achieve really, really good results. 12,000 followers within 6 months. It ranges a lot. It really depends on your market, your niche. It ranges, this one's around about, on average, we see around 2,000 a month, but it can go up to about 4,000 a month. But it really depends on a lot of things. It depends on your Instagram account itself, your photos. It depends on your market and your niche. Again, female-centric industries tend to fare better on Instagram in terms of growth, but that's not to say that other niches can also grow as well. Yeah, and that's it. That's all I have. Do you guys have any questions or anything that you want to ask?
I have a question. Do you have any suggestions for tools or whatever to get access to data and statistics on Instagram?
What kind of data and statistics are you looking for?
It seems it's only visual. If you want to get statistics on users, what they like, or how much they like, or sort of things. Is there any way to analyze what's going on your feed?
Yes, there are. There's a lot of tools online that you can do that. Keyhole is a good one. Social Blade is a good one. Those are two that I would recommend. Social Blade, yeah.
Want to be clear, you are also placing content for your clients on Instagram, or just following the pictures and upgrading following them?
Good question. We don't do content posting for clients at the moment. We are merely focused on helping them reach out to their target. We believe that content posting is something where the brands have a lot of, we feel like the brand is in a better position to do that because, or the company has a better position because they have specific requirements, they have specific times and stuff like that. We don't do content generation or posting at the moment. No.
Do you also do Facebook or on Instagram?
We focus on Instagram. We can't do Facebook, but we can do Twitter and Pinterest as well. If that is something that you guys are looking for as well, we can do that as well.
Another question as far as statistics are concerned, do you know how many people follow Instagram in Hong Kong?
That number is actually not, it's not open to the public. Like that actually hasn't been determined yet. I would say that in Hong Kong is primarily Facebook, for sure. Instagram is typically younger audience, more on the expat side. But based on what I've seen, there's actually increased growth on the younger local audience using Instagram. That has been growing a lot in like the past 6-7 months.
Are there any unofficial numbers of how many people use Instagram on mainland if they use VPN?
On the mainland? So I don't have the exact numbers, but I do know that.
Some kind of tendency.
But I do know that in the mainland, there's actually a good portion, like a decent amount. And the reason why I see it is because I've looked at the data. There's increasingly more people geotagging China, and locals geotagging China, by the way, not expats. And there's actually an increase in location geotags on that. So the trend is increasing. They do use VPNs and stuff. Yeah.
Well, I've heard about people like posting stuff on Instagram is like there's like certain trait or rules or not actually rules. I mean to actually get maximize view because after all is when you begin you don't really know when people are gonna actually see your feed and stuff like that. But there's a certain period of time or is there something that you can talk about and share about?
Yeah. So it highly depends on your market and it highly depends on your niche. It depends. So what I would advise is that you can use some online tools that can look at what times people will interact on your posts the most. But right now, Instagram has changed the algorithm that actually doesn't matter what time you post now. Because the Instagram algorithm is now basing off of its sorting algorithm with Facebook, which means that it measures the strength and bond between me and you, for example. So if I want to have a higher chance in showing up in your feed, we need to show that we're actually communicating, like I like your photos, you like me back, we're commenting each other and stuff like that. That is Instagram's judgment of how high you're going to show up on their feed. So the way to post time is becoming less important now, actually. What's more important is engagement. You've got to create content that truly engages people. So you need to actually encourage them to engage. Like for example, in your captions, you got to ask really good questions. Like for example, I saw one post where it was a guy wearing the clothes and he was wearing headphones and looking at his iPod. And then in the caption it was like, here's my playlist for today for me to relax. And it was Bruno Mars, Taylor Swift, blah, blah, blah. And then some other independent artists. And the question was, what are you guys listening today to relax? So it's relevant, it asks a question, it encourages people to comment. So you got to do those type of things, number one. Number two is you need to engage with your followers. So if they like your photo, the real good Instagram owners that I've met, if somebody likes your photo, they go and like back like 2 other photos. They do like backs. And that makes it very effective. But like backs have to be smart, meaning that don't like a photo that has like 50 likes, because nobody's gonna see your company or your account in 50 likes. You gotta be like the first person to like it, or the second or third person to like it. Then you maximize your exposure. My company actually can do that. We can actually like your followers' photos automatically to kind of prolong that engagement and to keep that relationship going. Other ways to increase views, you can try hashtags is the most common way, but hashtags is pretty much like that slide that I showed you with all the different lights and stuff in Japan or whatever. It's kind of, that's something that what everybody mostly does. And the return on that is okay. It's all right. It's not going to be great, but it's not going to be bad either. Any other?
It seems like sometimes when people post photos on Instagram, they have like this much caption and like this many hashtags. Like, what's sort of an effective use of hashtags besides like creating ones that are brand specific or specific to your own company?
So
How do you find that sweet spot, basically?
So the number of hashtags, based on what I've seen, the companies that really actually get orders from Instagram, they post probably like about maybe anywhere between 10 and 15. They don't overload it, number one. Number two is that they don't rely on Instagram hashtags. Instagram hashtags should not be relied upon. It's something that helps you, but it shouldn't be something that you should just solely rely on. What type of Instagram hashtags? Well, I commonly see a lot of brands use the wrong Instagram hashtag. Actually, that's the most common problem that I see. If, for example, like you sell women's wear, and some of them will use very odd, hashtags that they think are relevant to the brand, like for example, capsule fashion, strange kind of keywords that are really long and talk about, what I wore today or whatever. They're not, if you're selling female wear, it should be strictly on female wear, like skirts and things that people actually search for in the mindset of looking for that stuff. So, for example, if you have a skirt, you should say skirt. Like, you should not make it too complicated. If you do OOTD, OOTD is so complex now. It's so complex. There's so many different businesses and so many different fashion bloggers on there that it's a mixed jumble of all sorts of people. I recommend staying away from those type of hashtags, but choosing hashtags that are more relevant, just really, really specific and relevant to what you're actually trying to sell.
In your presentation, you talk a lot about like monetizing through actually your actual product. I mean, there's people out there to monetize the Instagram account, not necessarily on product, but on referral. And how does that work? And how does that basically particular business model?
Referral, as in like.
They actually maybe a lifestyle personnel. They become more like I would say a bit like not a KOL.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they have an Instagram account to become an influencer or a KOL.
Yeah, exactly.
So how, in your question is?
Yeah, how would that monetize? And I mean, the account is not just only by
Okay.
selling product, because
I got it. They're monetizing as, okay.
Yeah.
So if you're talking about monetizing the account, then KOLs typically, like, they just get enough followers, they get good engagement, and then they charge by post. So they'll approach brands approach them, and then they charge them for taking pictures or taking videos or whatever with the product of that brand. So then they would monetize that way. Does that answer your question, or?
Yeah, but there's a way to kind of start it. Some people actually start really good with their Instagram account, not necessarily like on a blog post and stuff like that. How to get actually people actually follow their account in that way, not necessarily like selling product.
Okay. So we have actual fashion bloggers as clients, and a lot of them start off several ways that I've seen that works really well. One is that they pair up with other influencers, like other established influencers. So, and they guest post on them, they guest post on your account, you cross post stuff, and you need to kind of figure out a way to work with them. Another way that I've seen it relatively work well is that they, some of them actually put ads, but it doesn't really work very well. The other way is that they talk to, a lot of them actually hustle a lot, meaning that they do a lot of that stuff, all the stuff that I did, I told you they do it manually. They go and like people's photos, they go and comment people manually. Like, they do all that stuff manually to gain that traction. And once they gain enough traction, it kind of just starts to snowball. And some people use my service as well.
And also, now Instagram, we have this moment, like a bit like Snapchat, like.
Yeah.
How does that, because it doesn't have like a fixed thing anymore, and you just look at the video.
Right.
And would that be also a good thing to invest in, because you take more dedication?
Absolutely. I think it's absolutely a good thing to invest in. I mean, Instagram right now is actually going more into video. So Instagram has released, I don't know if you guys have heard, they're releasing a new feature. I think it may be out for some countries, some phones, is Instagram Live. So it's basically like Facebook streaming, basically, but it's on Instagram. So they're going really forward into video, which means that video content will be valued higher at the beginning compared to your normal content, which means, because they want to encourage people to use it. So what I like to say is, whenever Instagram has a new feature or new something that they want to share, immediately use it. Like, when Instagram Stories came out, like, I basically told all my clients, put as much content as you can on Instagram Stories at the beginning, because people will see that much more easier than the rest of their content, because that's what Instagram wants. Instagram wants people to use a new feature. So, for example, the Instagram Stream that's coming up, I highly recommend to really put more content on that at the beginning, and that will give you that initial burst of exposure before the rest of everybody else catches on. And plus, you get to experiment it early as well, and you get to see what works and what doesn't, and get experience on that. So absolutely, like absolutely.
What do you think of Instagram advertisements?
So Instagram ads, we use Instagram ads for ourselves. It works very well. We've seen brands use Instagram ads, and we see mixed results. Mixed results. It depends a lot. Instagram has made it more and more, the ads more and more like, I guess, like other photos, like lifestyle photos. They've used to allow text, for example, in the ads. Now they don't allow text in the picture. You can't even have text in it. The pictures, the way how I see that works the best is that the picture needs to really, really pop, like really pop. There's a, let's see if I can go and show you, for example, a really good example of an Instagram that, what I mean by it really pops is something like GoPro. The reason why GoPro is that every single image is very, well, number one is an action shot, but number two, the colors are very like strong. And each image is just really eye-catching. So you don't have to actually necessarily show your product, actually. You don't have to. You can, but you don't have to. You just need something to make people stop. You need to make people stop and look at the picture. That's the goal. So if you can do that and capture their attention, then you can try to work on your Instagram account to try to get them to follow or whatnot and stuff like that. So it's very important to pick something that's really visceral, like just, you know, eye-watering, I guess, something that just really makes your eyes go, whoa, what kind of picture is that? Yeah.
Question. You recommend the Apple Pay and Android Pay
Yeah.
as compared with the PayPal.
Yes.
What's the difference? I think I still remember PayPal store your credit card number.
Yeah. You know, it's pretty. I would say the difference is that if you select PayPal, you still have to log in. Like you have to put in your username and password. That's one step. And the second step is you have to confirm. Like you have to confirm. Like it's two screens. Log in, wait, confirm, and then it bounces back to your page. So yeah, I mean, it's okay. You can do that. But entering your username and password is already like, oh God, man, what was the password again? Okay, I think it is. Maybe if you auto-loaded it, maybe it's okay. But if you go outside of your website, it's okay. I mean, it's all right. It's okay. But the thumb thing, just, you want to make it as easy as possible. You don't want people to look at a screen and be like, oh, I don't want to, oh, I forgot my password. Screw it, whatever. You don't want that. Because even with the thumb thing, you're going to lose people. So.
Okay, the second question follow to that. What's the difference or market acceptance for PayPal versus Android Pay and Apple Pay in Asia and also in US, America?
Okay, so market acceptance for PayPal, obviously.
Meaning user population.
User population. Okay. Well, PayPal's probably the biggest right now,
Okay.
for sure. I think, obviously in the Western country, it's like very popular. Europe country is very popular. Asia is more fragmented, very, very fragmented. So Hong Kong, I think PayPal's okay, but Southeast Asia, everybody has their own like payment gateways. Like Indonesia has its own payment thing. Thailand has its own payment way. Everybody kind of does their own thing. They may or may not use PayPal as much. Android Pay just kicked off. That one is still catching on. Apple Pay, pretty much everybody has on their phone, but it's still adopting. It's still people still don't haven't been using it as much, even though you can use it on your phone, but nobody's using it. Like you can pretty much take your phone and then go to 7-Eleven and then Pay with your phone, but still not many people use it. So it's there, but it's slowly kind of getting adoption. But with this e-commerce trend, the fact that the Apple Pay logo is going to be there is already encouragement for people to actually use it. And I think both Apple Pay and Android Pay will gain in popularity in 2017.
Considering the increased hacking activities worldwide, also hacking into accounts and stealing passwords, etc., would you consider Apple Pay as the safest of the three options?
I'm no security expert. That's a good question. You know what? I don't know. Like, it's Apple seems to so far has been okay with security. Their security track record is not bad. I would probably be a bit more worried about Android Pay because there's so many different vendors, so many different phones, and their implementation is going to be different. So I would say that Android Pay is probably maybe comparatively more riskier, but I don't know how much more riskier. And who knows? Once it starts to adopt, they might start, putting the right standards and everything. So it might take time. Yeah.
Another question for me. So you were talking about how Instagram in Hong Kong isn't as popular as Instagram is somewhere else, or even Facebook in Hong Kong. But in terms of business in Hong Kong, what do you see as an advantage? Like cross-border selling, or is it still as good enough for a local market? Or what's your experience with the local brands? Like, do they have to is it more like a regional audience that they're going for, or are they still sort of going local?
Funny enough, I work with Dmob and Mabel, and they both target local audience, and they get good results. Like they get good results targeting a local audience, and the Instagram population is in Hong Kong is very unique because I think it's different. It's because Facebook now has become more of like a news thing, like a news cycle more like, and so people are looking for different ways for discovery. So I think a lot of I believe the trend is a lot of people are trying to use Instagram as a way to discover and stuff like that. So I think it's definitely a growing piece. A lot of the brands that target the local audience, it's actually very easy to target local audience because Hong Kong people, although they like to use English and some of them the hashtags are in English, but there's a lot of hashtags that are in Chinese, and the Chinese hashtags are specific to Hong Kong, which means it's very easy for you to target them. Oh yeah.
Instagram, is it age group? More a certain age group is more geared towards Instagram, like the older generation. I'm not quite sure
You're talking about Hong Kong?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Hong Kong is relatively younger, yeah. It's definitely like 18 to probably like 35-ish, 40 is starting to drop off. Yeah, it's usually around that segment. It's pretty much the hot demographic. Yeah.
And there's another question. This gentleman mentioned about Snapchat.
Yeah.
And then you seem to agree Snapchat is a good thing to look at. But as far as I understand, Snapchat is only a short window, like 24 hours.
Right.
So how would that work?
So Snapchat right now currently is a brand awareness play. It's all about branding. Right now at the moment. That's number one. And number two is Snapchat, why brands are investing so heavily into Snapchat is because they want to touch into the millennial younger audience. They want to be able to have exposure to them so that later on they know what the brand is. But it will be very difficult for you to monetize off of the Snapchat audience at the moment. It will be relatively difficult. Number one, they're all young, which means that their disposable income is not as much. So it's an investment. It's an investment for branding for the future. Yeah.
So the age group, as far as targeting age groups, as far as Instagram is concerned, what is the correct age group to target with brands like fashion?
In Hong Kong or in general?
in general?
It really, I mean, well, okay, so based on what I've seen, fashion brands, what they target is anywhere between 20 and 40. Like they do that in Hong Kong, they do it in the States. It ranges. Like some of them are more to the younger side, some of them more on the older side. I've had one brand that is for mature woman fashion. So it's like 40 to 50, but it's in the States. And there's a segment of people on Instagram that love this type of 40 to 50 fashion. So it's, but that's more on the extreme side. The focus is mostly on 20 to 40, I would say.
Like Hong Kong?
As I just said, on the younger side.
What is younger side?
Well, I just said 20 to, what did I say, 20 to 35-ish, yeah. Anything else? Any other questions, or?
Well, we're gonna keep the space open for a little while more. Feel free to sort of mob him. And but if you guys want to sort of have a little more discussions around this topic, feel free to approach Hoyin, or feel free to stay around and mingle. There's still some drinks in the back. And if you are interested in any of our future events or any of our future programs, feel free to talk to either me or Jeffrey. And there's also Hoyin's colleagues at the back over there. So thank you everybody for coming to our event tonight. And I'm going to sort of break you up into discussions, questions.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.